What if I told you that somewhere in this world, there exists a door that should never be opened? Brief pause, a door that, when unlocked with the wrong key, doesn't just lead to another room, but to places that defy the very fabric of reality itself. Welcome back to another classified file from the SCP Foundation archives. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most enigmatic and terrifying spatial anomalies ever documented. SCP-004, the 12 rusted keys and the door. Picture this, an ancient metal door, weathered by countless years, standing alone like a monument to forgotten secrets. This isn't just any door. This is SCP-004. A gateway that has claimed lives, shattered minds, and opened pathways to dimensions that humanity was never meant to explore. The anomaly consists of two primary components. First, an ornate metal door of unknown origin, crafted from materials that don't match any known earthly composition. Second, a collection of 12 rusted keys, each one unique, each one potentially deadly. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. Only certain keys can actually open the door, and each key that works leads somewhere different. The SCP Foundation discovered this anomaly after a series of unexplained disappearances in Redacted during the early 1970s. Local authorities reported that several individuals had simply vanished without a trace, leaving behind only strange metallic residue and the overwhelming scent of ozone in the air. When Foundation personnel finally located SCP-004, they found it standing in what appeared to be the ruins of an ancient structure, a building that, according to historical records, should never have existed in that location. Now, let's talk about those 12 keys, because this is where SCP-004 transforms from mysterious to absolutely terrifying. Each key bears intricate engravings that seem to shift and change when observed directly. Some researchers have reported that the symbols appear to be a form of writing, possibly from a civilization that predates recorded human history. Others believe the markings are not decorative at all, but warnings. Of the 12 keys, only 7 have been confirmed to actually open the door. The other 5 either do nothing, or worse, they trigger events that the Foundation classifies as reality restructuring incidents. Key number 1, nicknamed the Greenhouse Key, opens the door to what appears to be a vast botanical garden. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. The plants in this garden are carnivorous, intelligent, and have been observed communicating with each other through chemical signals. 3D class personnel who entered this space were found days later, completely integrated into the plant life, still conscious, still screaming. Key number 3 leads to what can only be described as a mirror world, a perfect replica of our reality, but everything is reversed. Not just left and right, but moral concepts, physical laws, even the concept of death itself works in reverse. One researcher who entered this dimension reported meeting alternate versions of Foundation personnel who were trying to contain SCPs by releasing them into populated areas. But it's key number 7 that truly haunts the nightmares of anyone who's studied SCP-004. This key opens the door to nothing. Complete, absolute void. Not darkness, absence. The few individuals who've peered through this doorway have reported seeing the end of existence itself. One scientist, Dr. Redacted, stared into this void for exactly 13 seconds. When he turned away, he had aged 40 years and could only speak in a language that doesn't exist. The remaining keys that actually function lead to equally disturbing destinations. A library containing books that write themselves with the names of people who will die. A factory that produces objects that haven't been invented yet. And most disturbingly, a room that appears to be an exact replica of the SCP Foundation's own Site, 19. But with one crucial difference. In this alternate Site, 19, humanity is the anomaly being contained. The SCP Foundation has classified SCP-004 as Euclid class, which means it's unpredictable and potentially catastrophic. The entire anomaly is housed in a specially constructed containment chamber at Site 62, surrounded by reality anchors designed to prevent dimensional bleeding. But here's what's truly unsettling about the Foundation's approach to SCP-004. They continue to experiment with it. Despite the obvious dangers, despite the loss of personnel, Despite the reality-warping effects that seem to grow stronger with each use, they keep opening that door. Why? Because SCP-004 might be humanity's first glimpse into the true nature of the multiverse. Each key doesn't just open a door to another place. It opens a window into alternate realities, parallel dimensions, and possibilities that could reshape our understanding of existence itself. Dr. Sarah Chun, the current lead researcher on SCP-004, theorized that the door might be a form of ancient technology, possibly pre-human in origin. Her research suggests that the 12 keys were never meant to be used by humans at all. Instead, they might be tools created by beings who existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, entities for whom our concept of linear reality would be laughably primitive. This theory gains credibility when we consider the door's construction. Materials analysis reveals that the door contains elements that shouldn't exist in stable form under normal physics. Some components appear to exist in a state of quantum superposition, simultaneously present and absent, solid and ethereal. What makes SCP-004 even more terrifying is its apparent connection to other spatial anomalies in the Foundation's database. Consider SCP-093, the Red Sea object, a mirror that serves as a gateway to a post-apocalyptic Earth where humanity fell to creatures of living sand. Like SCP-004, it provides access to alternate realities, but where SCP-093 shows us what we might become, SCP-004 shows us what we might have been. Then there's SCP-1437, the hole in the wall, a gap in reality that leads to a parallel universe where the SCP Foundation never existed. Both anomalies suggest that our reality is far more fragile than we believed, connected to infinite alternatives by pathways we barely understand. Most intriguingly, several researchers have noted similarities between SCP-004 and SCP-106, the Old Man. Both entities seem to exist partially outside our normal dimensional space, and both have been observed causing reality distortions in their immediate vicinity. Could there be a connection? Is it possible that SCP-106 originated from one of the dimensions accessible through SCP-004? Recent experiments have yielded even more disturbing results. When researchers attempted to use multiple keys simultaneously, the door began to resonate at frequencies that don't exist in our dimensional space. Monitoring equipment detected energy signatures consistent with what physicists call dimensional membrane vibration. Essentially, the walls between realities beginning to break down. But let's not forget the human cost of studying SCP-004. Over the past 5 decades, 37 Foundation personnel have been lost to experiments involving the door and its keys. Some were consumed by hostile entities from alternate dimensions. Others were trapped in realities where the basic laws of physics made human survival impossible. The most tragic case involves Dr. Michael Torres, a physicist who volunteered to test key number 9. He entered a dimension where time moved backwards, aging in reverse until he became a child, then an infant, then nothing. His final transmission, recorded as his adult consciousness existed in a 2-year-old body, simply said, "I remember dying. I remember never being born." Both are true. These losses raise profound questions about the ethics of SCP research. At what point does scientific curiosity become reckless endangerment? When does the pursuit of knowledge justify the destruction of human lives? The Foundation's official position is that understanding SCP-004 could prevent an XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. If the door represents technology from a more advanced civilization, mastering it might give humanity the tools to survive future existential threats. But critics within the Foundation argue that each experiment brings us closer to a cascade failure that could merge our reality with something far worse. This brings us to the most chilling possibility of all. What if SCP-004 isn't just a doorway to other dimensions? What if it's a test? Some researchers theorize that the 12 keys represent different aspects of civilization: knowledge, power, curiosity, fear. Each key that opens the door successfully might be measuring humanity's readiness to join a broader cosmic community. The keys that don't work might be mercy, preventing us from accessing powers we're not prepared to wield. Under this interpretation, every experiment with SCP-004 is being watched, evaluated, judged by intelligences beyond our comprehension. And based on our track record of using the door primarily for research and containment rather than wisdom or growth, we might be failing that test. Alternative theories suggest that SCP-004 might be a refugee from a dying reality, the last remnant of a universe that collapsed into ours, carrying with it fragments of the dimensions it once connected. If this is true, then the door isn't just dangerous because of where it leads. It's dangerous because it might be pulling those other realities into ours, slowly merging incompatible dimensions until our universe becomes as unstable as the one that created SCP-004. Here's what truly terrifies me about SCP-004. It represents humanity's greatest weakness and our greatest strength. Our weakness is our insatiable curiosity, our compulsion to open doors that should remain closed, to seek knowledge regardless of the cost. But our strength is that same unstoppable drive to understand, to explore, to push beyond the boundaries of what we know. The door reminds us that reality is far more fragile than we pretend. Every time we assume we understand the universe, something like SCP-004 appears to show us how much we still don't know. It's a humbling reminder that we might not be alone in the cosmos, and that we might not be welcome. For those brave enough to dive deeper into this mystery, I encourage you to research SCP-004 on the SCP Wiki Foundation database. Form your own theories about what the door represents and where those 12 keys truly lead. But remember, some knowledge comes with a price, and some doors are meant to stay locked. As we close this file on SCP-004, I leave you with this disturbing question. What if the door isn't the anomaly at all? What if we are? What if SCP-004 is simply a window back to the reality we were meant to inhabit in our world? This world of linear time, single dimensions, and isolated existence is the true aberration. In our next investigation, we'll be examining another key-related anomaly that might hold the answer to unlocking not just doors, but the very secrets that hold our reality together. Until then, remember, some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some doors should never be opened. Stay curious, stay cautious, and never forget, we are not alone in the dark.